You really learn about your partners during a race. I think like you can train heaps with guys and girls, and then you learn really what they're made of when you race, because it's a whole different kettle of fish, and especially when it's a world championship race.
Podcast. I'm Chip.
And I'm Chris, and this is episode 102 of the show. This week, we have three-time ÖTILLÖ world champion Adriel Young on the show. For those who don't know Adriel, he's a swimrunner whose legend is being written as we speak. He also happens to be one of the nicest guys in the sport. We caught up with him at the start of his holiday and had a great chat, I thought.
I agree.
But first,
on to our training updates. So the calendar year is coming to an end, and coincidentally, the Low Tide Boyz off season is coming to an end.
Yes.
It is near. It comes and goes with Santa, I suppose, potentially. But we got to get back to work because ÖTILLÖ Catalina, checking watch now, is only a handful of months away. So if we're doing a 12-week build, carry the one, divide by two. Okay, we should get started.
Yeah.
And we're going to predict lots of steep hill work in our near future. And for any Nevadans, we're going to be on Mount Burdell for sure, for certain.
Definitely. Little Mountain, Mount Burdell. Yes.
Yes.
Run leg 3 is not going to destroy us this time. We're not going to crush it.
It won't destroy us as bad.
We're not going to crush it, but it's not going to kill us.
Yeah. That was the 10K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The knee scraper.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Now, on to this week's shoutouts.
Yeah, this week we're shouting out our newest member on Patreon, Molly Erker. Thank you so much for the support, Molly.
Thanks,
we
Molly.
really, really, really appreciate it. Now, speaking of Patreon, we're going to start beefing up our engagement on that platform for our super fans. Starting in a few weeks in January, we're going to start hosting quarterly virtual meetups on Zoom. Basically just shop talk, just like bring your beer or wine or tea.
Beer with the boys or something.
Whatever.
Or bevy with the boys.
Water, sparkling water. We're going to set up webinars with coaches, race directors, and other quote-unquote personalities in the swimrun space. We're going to give fat discounts on Low Tide Boyz swag, and we're going to keep doing our sort of random giveaways throughout the year. Spoiler alert, there's some sunnies coming to all of our Patreon members. That's it. That's all I'm saying. If you don't know what sunnies is, look it up.
I'm going to sign up.
I mean, you're good. You're good for a pair.
Okay. I want some cool sunny.
Anyway, we're just trying to give back more to the folks that help us keep the lights on. So if you want some of that action, you can go to patreon.com/lowtideboys to learn more.
Yeah. And big shout out and appreciation to all of our current patrons
Definitely.
as well, of course. Now on to this week's Feats of Endurance. So this week's award goes to Simrranvier Rana from Thailand. Sim is our first Strava Club member from Thailand.
Yeah,
and he's
cool.
planning on doing his first swim run next year. It might be a little humid.
Yeah, I mean, I was messaging with him. I don't know where he was doing it, but he was saying he's doing one. So I don't know if he's going to travel to Europe.
Oh,
or
he
something.
might. Yeah, he might go abroad.
But yeah,
nice. That'll be exciting.
Yeah.
If you want to join Sim in our Strava Club, just go to Strava, search Low Tide Boyz. Heaps of folks, mountains of folks in there.
Yeah, closing in on 400, which is wild.
Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Go check that out on Strava. Now, for this week in Swimrun.
All right, we have a short update this week. A friendly reminder that the registration window is now open for teams seeking to race ÖTILLÖ, the Swimrun World Championship. Best of luck to everyone trying to qualify for the original swim run. Don't know what we're talking about? Check out our podcast episode all about how to qualify for that race. In other news, Odyssey Swimrun has released their list of 2020 events and dates. Casco Bay will be on July 17th, about a month earlier than in previous years. Mackinac Island will take place on August 28th. Orcas Island on September 18th. And closing out the year, Austin will take place on November 6th. Unfortunately, the Ludington race doesn't look like it's going to get a second edition in 2022. We're not sure what's up with that, but it appears that race was a one and done. Which is a bummer.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to running on sand for about 5 miles, but I guess we could just go out and do it anyway. Registration is opening soon, so make sure you sign up for the Odyssey newsletter to stay on top of the early bird registration prices. That's it for this week. Make sure to tip us off if there's any news you'd like for us to share on the show.
Yes, and I'll just put one tag on there.
Yeah.
We have released our Swimrun events in the United States calendar, if you will, on our site. So if you're a race director or you know of small mom-and-pop type swim runs around, we would be more than happy to feature those on that page. Just shoot us an email or whatever on that.
Awesome.
Now for this week's updates. So you may have checked our Instagram. You may have heard. You may have seen people swooping on this already. Some people already utilizing that Patreon discount code to snag some of the new Low Tide Boyz headwear. We got beanies. We got hats of all assortments. So go on over to the shop. Check it out.
Yeah.
They most likely will not arrive in time for Christmas, but that's okay. You can have another celebratory winter holiday unboxing.
My favorite holiday growing up, Three Kings Day, January 6th. So if you order now, you'll definitely get it by January 6th, I think.
Put it right under there for the camels.
Mm-hmm.
You could bury a beanie in the hay, but you don't want a camel to eat your beanie.
Well,
though.
I mean, the way it works, so you essentially put camel and water under your bed, and then the Three Kings take that to feed the camels, and then they leave gifts. So
there's no hay.
Yeah, you put hay, but it's for the camels. It's not for
hiding gifts in.
Yeah, it's
for nourishment.
Yeah.
Similar to the cookie concept for Santa.
Yeah. Anyway.
Tis the off season.
DM us if you want to know more about Three Kings Day, my favorite holiday.
Yes, and the Gear Talk is back. So we got together with Brooke and Annie again, and we reviewed the Arc Sports Keel S pull buoy. So their smallest one in the lineup, small but mighty. Check it out if you think you're interested in it, or you just want to hear us on another medium. You want to hear the lovely ladies of Swimrun Labs.
Yeah, pull buoy talk.
Pull buoy talk.
My favorite
Haven't had a
topic.
good old fashioned pull buoy hootin' at in a while. It's always good to have one of those. So go check that out. But now for this week's interview, Adriel Young.
Yeah, I mean, we're super stoked to have a 3-time world champion on the show. There's really too many superlatives that we could use to describe Adriel. Yes. So we'll just say he's a pretty cool dude. You know, he's a nice guy. We had a lot of fun chatting with him about his epic 2021 swimrun season, his swimrun quote unquote training in quote. Yeah, definitely
air quotes on that.
Why Oscar Olsen is such a legend, and this is definitely a game recognized game situation for those listening, and why this year's World Championship was so special to him. We keep saying pretty much of all our guests, but it's true that, you know, Adriel is a great ambassador for the sport, and we just love his energy and enthusiasm for Simrun. It was really cool to chat with him.
Yeah, great chat, and he's on a bit of a holiday himself down in Australia. He was, at the time when we chatted with him, he was quarantined, so there was no escaping the Low Tide Boys.
Yeah.
We had him.
Yeah.
His attention was ours. So it was a good time. It was a good time with him. And we're on, you know, in the northern hemisphere, much chillier than he's probably going to the beach or something right now. But without further ado,
let's just get to it.
Let's get right to
Adriel
having you
Young.
all enjoy Adriel Young.
Cool dude.
Legend.
With us today, we have reigning Swimrun world champion, previous Swimrun world champion as well, Adriel Young. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. I've been a long time listener, so I'm glad to finally make the podcast.
Well, we're really glad to finally have you on. I mean, it's like, you know, obviously after the world championship, we just want to get everyone on, and it's so hard, but you know, we really want to talk about, so the 2021 season for you has been, by all accounts, a resounding success. You raced 9 times, won 8 of them, came in second the other time with multiple partners. Can you tell us a little bit about sort of like looking back? You obviously had a great year. You know, what are your thoughts sort of looking back into your season?
Yeah, it sort of just snowballed there, really. I mean, in 2018, I had a similar year. I just went on I just raced as much as I could and had a lot of luck. And then I wasn't ever planning on racing the World Championships in 2018 either. And it just I think I raced 10 weekends before the World Championships. And was the first, second, or third in all of those races. And then I said to Oscar like the week before, let's race ÖTILLÖ. But and then this year we'd planned on racing in 2020. So then this year was more like, I know that the only way I get like race fit is if I race a lot. So I'm not a big fan of like training as much as the other guys. So I like to race more. But so that was sort of the plan, race as much as I could. And I just linked up all those races, which was nice. And then, yeah.
Nice. Do you set your old calendar out for the year, and do you put 9 races down, or you have a couple key ones that you like to focus on, and then you sort of fall into the rest, or how does your sort of plan process work?
I just do everything that pops up. So
okay.
if any race comes and I can fit it in on the weekend, I just go straight and do that. Like that's, for me, that's how I like to structure my training. So then I like race hard on the weekends and then sort of have a couple of days rest and then start getting back into training before I get to taper again and race again. So I just try and race as much as I can. And there's no real planned early. I mean, this year was the most structured I've ever had because I had Oscar as a partner, and Oscar loves to like have things planned out. So, I mean, the most planned was the World Championships, and then the other races were sort of like a couple of, maybe like some of them were like that week I decided to race, and the others was like maybe 1 or 2 weeks, 3 weeks before. So there was nothing like long-term planned.
So let's get an example of that. So your last race of the year was with one of our favorite people, Hugo Tormento, where you guys won ÖTILLÖ Malta. How did that come together? Did you guys just jump on the phone and be like, hey man, you want to come down do this race? It's next week?
Yeah, it was like maybe 3 weeks before. So after ÖTILLÖ, I'd like torn both my hamstrings in that race, like just minor tears in both. So I didn't do anything for like 5 weeks. And I wouldn't have done, even if I wasn't injured, I wouldn't have done anything. I just, it was time for a bit of rest. And then Hugo called me like 3 weeks out from Malta and he's like, do you want to race? I guess. And then I was like, okay, see if I can get fit in a few weeks. So I really actually had not done anything for 5 weeks, which was really nice, but it was also tough to climb back up and get back on the horse. But I mean, that's how I've done all my races. So it wasn't anything new to me. And then, I was a bit unlucky because like the day before the race, I got like a really bad cold. I really wanted to like have a good race with Hugo where like, you know, we could push each other to the limit. But I, unfortunately for him, I was sick the day before the race. So I was like with, in my head within steam on the morning of, just trying to like loosen up everything inside me. And I just felt it after the first swim. I was struggling, just like, I've never had that before in a race. Had it so tough where I couldn't breathe almost in the first swim. Oof. I was just ready to. If I was a solo event, I would have pulled out. But that's the beauty of Swimrun, really. We're teammates out there.
Yeah, when you're tied to somebody, you can't quite run away quite as easy.
Yeah, exactly. That was good. I mean, he's an unbelievable athlete, and I have no doubt him and Max are going to go, or whoever he races with, they're going to go and win big races ahead. So
for sure. So you know, you've raced with multiple partners, and I want to spend some time talking about Oscar Olsen, who we love. But before that, you know, you've raced with a bunch of different partners. You sort of came up in sort of the mixed category, won a couple world championships in there. Can you just tell us, like, from your vast experience, like, what is it that you look for in a partner, and what do you think, in your opinion, makes like partnerships work really well in swimrun?
Yeah, good question. I mean, you really learn about your partners during a race. I think like you can train heaps with guys and girls, and then you learn really what they're made of when you race, because it's a whole different kettle of fish, and especially when it's a world championship race or a longer race. But I mean, I think it's really important to get along with the person you're racing with, like, and that you both have going into it have the same goals. Like you either want to go out there and have fun and enjoy your day, and I mean, you always want to do that, but then also if you both want to be in there, that you're willing to like not die, obviously, and not that seriously, but kill yourselves out there to win the race. And that's important. But I mean, that's the beauty of swimrun. Not every day you have to be in that. I mean, I enjoy going. I've done swim runs with like mates of mine that aren't like, that can hardly run 10 kilometers, but we just go out and have a fun day racing. That's completely different. So, you know, it is really important that you both have, like, from the start, what levels you both are at, like, so that no one thinks that someone's in a much better shape than they really are, but also what the goals are of the day. So it's important.
Okay. Yeah, and we talked to Oscar. He broke down a nice ÖTILLÖ course preview for us, leg by leg. There, I think he had.
I listened to that because I had no idea what was
Well, that's good. That's good to know. And I feel like he didn't even use any notes or anything. It seemed like it came right out of his brain. But it was very clear that the attention that you two had was to win the ÖTILLÖ. And so, which you did. Congratulations on that. First of all, and a course record as well, which, you know, it's always a nice cherry on top. Little,
yeah.
You know, take it to the next level. So, you also raced Engadin with Oscar, and was that experience in Engadin, and that was your only second place of the year? The rest you're on top of the podium. Did you take a lot of learnings from there that you applied to the World Championship? Talk us through a little bit of that.
We sort of like, we went into Engadin knowing like Oscar does not like, he's like asthma, doesn't like the altitude. We've raced there before and we have almost the identical experience, because as you and I know, Oscar's a machine. So it's amazing. It still amazes me that like altitude can really cripple someone like that. But it was just training. We went there because we were going to film and follow the race, the sprint race the day before. That was sort of the main goal, and then that was just sort of training the next day. But I am not underestimating that we were very lucky to come second there. We really should have been further back in the field, but we had a good second half of the race, and lucky other teams faded and got cold and things like that, and we just sort of climbed our way through. I think we were at 6th at one point in the race, so we just really sort of ate up teams. And I wouldn't even say we ate up teams, more the teams just died and we got lucky.
You guys stayed the same and other teams kind of started fading.
Yeah. So we learned, more, not so much we learned a lot from that, but it was just like a good 5 hours in the mountains training hard or racing hard. So
yeah, really solid training day. Now, Chris and I watched ÖTILLÖ, the World Championship live. We've seen all the videos that Rasmus has done in all the years. One thing that we noticed with you and Oscar that's a little bit unique is you two, at least in the World Championship, you didn't appear to be using a tether. And we're hoping that you could provide us a little bit of insights on that.
I mean, we like the first time I've ever used a tether in a race where we always carry one with us, Oscar and I, for the runs, but like swimming, he can easily hold my feet in the swims, and so we don't need a tether for swimming. And then we have a tether always with us if someone dies in the run, but we didn't have to bring that out, luckily, in the World Championships, as much as I wanted it to come out.
So that's interesting because, you know, typically it's like, oh, well, the tether's an advantage because it keeps people in contact. But it seems like at some point, if you're just so fit and so in tune, like it's almost like you just need it if you need it, but it's not like it's not helping you.
I think it's a great tool, especially in mixed. Like Eva and I, we had tether both years that we won the World Championships, and I mean, it's just, you can just talk to each other through that line, especially in mixed, like know how the other person's going. But Oscar and I, we've raced and trained so much together. It's almost just like, you know, when to like pump the brakes for your teammate, and you know when to just, you know, grit your teeth and hold on to when someone's feeling good and the other one's not, you know. We're not trying to kill each other, but we really want to like push ourselves.
Extract the maximum out of your partner kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So you know, I want to spend a little time talking about Oscar. I mean, we love Oscar. He's been on the show twice. We really appreciate his sort of his whole vibe, which I think is crazy. Like, the dude's awesome. Yeah. You know, someone who probably knows him the best because you've raced with him and you've sort of gone to battle with him in these really tough events. Tell us something about Oscar that you don't really see from him posting Instagram being in like a hot tub with like a glass of champagne, and the next one is like, I just cross country skied 50K in like 2 hours or something.
With no shirt on.
Yeah, tell us something we don't know about him.
No, I mean, it was like a really good experience for me racing with Oscar, because he's like clinical, like he plans his training and like he knows his body so well, and he knows when he's going to be like peak. We are opposites. That's the funniest thing. We are like complete opposites. Like I don't like training and I do the bare minimum, and I love racing, and he just like plans out his year to like be in the possible best shape at the World Championships. And like he was doing like 35-hour weeks of training, and I can't even get my head around that, because like I don't know anyone in Sweden that even works that many hours a week. So yeah, I mean he's a machine, and he's a good guy. You know, like if you want to, like, that's what, like, swim run, you're going to go to battle with someone, like that's the kind of guy you want to go to battle with, because he's going to give you everything he's got out on the field that day. So that's all I want in a teammate. That's someone that's willing to, you know, go as deep as they can. And yeah, so he's
That's awesome. Okay, so last question about Oscar, and then we'll move on to some other stuff. How did you guys sort of link up for the world? Like, what was the decision to link up to try to win worlds together? Which I guess started in 2019.
Yeah, so like 2018, we raced together at the World Championships. We only decided like a week before, and we had a pretty good day. I was happy. The first time I was racing the men's, so we finished third, and I was happy. He wasn't so happy, and then we said, like, in 2019, I said, like, I'm not racing this year. I'm going to have a break. And then after I actually did live coverage that year, and then I was like watching them race. I was like, oh, I wish I was racing right now, because
that's a tough one.
It was just tough to watch from the side. So, but I learned a lot as well. So I was like, okay, I said to Oscar on his birthday that year, I said, next year I'll race again with you at the World Championships. So like 2020, we were like, okay, we're going to race. And then obviously Corona happened. So then, and then I thought I was off the hook, because I said like I was going to do it that year, and then I didn't have to do it. And then he was like, he just went on like nothing had changed, that we were doing it in 2021. So I didn't really have a choice. And then it was like plan. And then we really actually, it was like the first time I've ever like really focused for a race. Like we did like specific training for at least like one or two really like ÖTILLÖ specific training sessions together, which was like really cool for me. Like someone that doesn't really often train at this race, but we did like this like 5-hour session that was like really specific to ÖTILLÖ. And then we did a lot of work with our gear and like what we were going to use to race and stuff like that with wetsuits. And so yeah, it was really focused on ÖTILLÖ.
Yeah, we noticed you guys opted for one of the only teams without even arm warmers, let alone sleeves. You kind of had a sleeveless wetsuit there that you were using. What was kind of the thinking behind that? And we heard obviously the waters are still their normal, chill to them.
Yeah.
What did you find in your testing that led you to that decision?
Yeah, well, we tested obviously we raced in a heap of different swimrun wetsuits, and then we tested over the summer, like with a bit, like first we tested like with tri-suits and like what the difference was, and we just felt like we gained so much in the running without anything over our shoulders. And even swimming, like I took a lot of time swimming without shoulders and with shoulders, and we just like with the mass, it was just so. We just couldn't race with shoulders on because we knew how much we gained from running without them. So
wow,
that was like, then we were like, okay, how are we going to get a sleeveless wetsuit now that we've decided we're going to race in one? So we went up and met with Daniel Sand from ARC, and we got given a wetsuit from Helene from ARC, and then we went up there and we just sort of, it was like arts and crafts day, and we just cut up our wetsuits.
Daniel Sand's crying in the corner about destroying this masterpiece he's created with a pair of shears.
Daniel Sand, the Da Vinci of swimrun.
Yeah,
I'm committed to having that moniker stick for him. Yeah, so you had these like sort of custom, let's call them prototypes. Let's call them prototypes.
Yeah, exactly. We just cut them off, went for a swim, came back. That didn't work. Stuck some stuff on, cut a bit off. So, and then by the end, we had a suit that we were pretty happy with to race the world champs in.
Awesome.
I mean, we did actually race with sleeves until Una. We had like sleeves on, but no.
But your shoulders were exposed.
Exactly, right? Yeah. So it's just like arm warmers, can you say, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess George and Pontus, when they won that
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
doing.
we just try like, that was purely for warmth. I mean, that was the coldest year I've ever done. I think it was like 14 or something in the water that day, so it was cold. But there was also a bit of motivation to run faster.
Yeah, that'll do it.
For sure. So, so you have this amazing day at the World Championship. I know Oscar, I mean, he wanted to win, obviously, but I think deep down in his heart of hearts, he wanted that the fastest time, the world record. Now, tell us a little bit how that race kind of developed. From where we were watching it, it was actually pretty cool to watch because, Team Arc, Swimrun France, super fast dudes, just like took off in that first swim. We find out afterwards that Oscar had like lost a paddle, so that created a gap. But the second you got to that first island, you could just tell that the hunt had begun. Is that how it felt, kind of from your perspective as being the hunter?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm like really good at like sort of looking around what's happening. So I was swimming, and I presumed Oscar was on my feet, and I was just I was like, we're gonna have the best day ever, because I was sitting on the French guy's feet, and I was like, this is so easy. And they're like, okay, and we've dropped the whole field now, and it's just gonna be us two teams. And then I look back, and I was like, oh, that's not Oscar, that's Max. And I look back, and I said to Max, what should we do? And I was like, the only thing we can do is stop. So me and Max sat there and just waited let them go. It's like painful to let like good feet like that go, but obviously we had to do that. And then we found Oscar in the pack and just like tried to drag him up till we found some good feet. But then I took the time. I saw them climb up the rocks, and then I sort of took the time on my watch till I got to the rocks again. And I saw it was like about a minute 20, minute 30 or something. And then I didn't think we would catch them that quick, but Oscar was like, he had a head on him after that. I think he was like, I've never seen him angry, but he was, I guess he was angry at himself more than anything.
Motivated.
So like, yeah, highly motivated, but he was gone, and it was like us with obviously Frederick and Lash, and then it was like we were running fast across that first island. I was like, and like someone said we closed like 300 meters or something in that 800-meter run, which is quite a lot of.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, we closed that 120 very quickly there on that island, and then jumped in just off their feet in the next swim. So,
right.
And then it was like the thing that the moment in the race like shocked me the most actually was how good they ran on that next run. It's like a 2.5K run or something, and it's pretty technical. And like we were behind them for the first like bit, and then you come onto the rocks, and then us two teams went. And I thought we dropped the French guys, but I mean they were only like 20 meters behind us getting in the water there, and we're like. Then I was like, "Oi, okay, they can run technical terrain as well."
Yeah,
so.
they were there to race. There's no doubt they were there to race.
Yeah, exactly. So then, I mean, Oscar and I knew the first half of the race really suits us. So we just had to, we didn't want to like do what they did in 2019 and sort of like play these games and wait until Una and see because we knew like that's not how I like to race, but also it's not in our favor to come onto that island with another team. So
yeah, then you're in some half marathon runoff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so it's like
a good place.
We want to like play our cards where it suits us, and that was early in the race. So
yeah. Now we always hear that there's low points at ÖTILLÖ. It's probably multiple low points. I'm assuming you guys had them as well.
For sure.
And where did they happen, and how did you deal with them?
I had my first low point, I would say, is in the pig swim. Like I've never thought that was a bad swim at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I normally consider myself a good swimmer, but I like the swim before that, I was like really paying attention to which way the water was moving. And I was like, okay, we moved quite a lot to the right then.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, okay, we moved to the left. And I said to the Oscar, when we jump in this next swim, I'm going to swim a fair bit to the right because I know it's going to drag us back to the left. And I did that, and it was just a big mistake because it was actually the current was moving. It was so weird, but the current was moving the opposite direction there. This is like a few 100 meters away. So like I think we lost a minute in that swim. And then I was like angry at myself, obviously, after that swim. So, and then I probably had the next low point was after, which I had in 2018 as well, after Una, like there we ran pretty good. Like the back end of that, we were a bit tired, but then you swim across and then I just cramped like I've never cramped before in my life. And I pretty much walked to, the next aid station. There's some video footage of us and we look like two old men like hobbling along. But at that point in the race, I thought, okay, we're going to lose this race now because I just couldn't move with my legs. And then I got some like of that precision hydration into me and just drank as much of that as I could, and it like loosened a little bit. Mm-hmm. And that's actually where I tore my hamstrings apparently, because you're not meant to run when you have cramps. So I just kept running. And then, we got to the finish line and it was happy days. I mean, as soon as you're like off Una, the race is pretty much done. Like we had it's like 45 minutes from the church back or something like that, or from the end of the island, I think. So it's not long to go. Yeah, from the end of the island, it's like 45 minutes of racing. So it's hard to eat up a lot of time with the guys on that terrain.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, so you end up even with a little walk break and some
bonus
electrolytes. bonus electrolytes and bonus hamstring tears, you cross the finish line, you set the world record. I mean, I can't even imagine what those emotions must be like. But is it like relief? Is it jubilation? Like what's going through your mind when?
Yeah, I mean, I was just so happy. It was like, and this sounds really strange, but I was like most happy for Oscar because he wanted it so bad. I was like, I've never I was obviously really happy as well, but he wanted it more than anyone wanted it. You know, like he's been wanting that win for a long time. So I was like, I'd won it twice before in mixed, and it was nice to win in the men's as well. But like, it was really nice to win with Oscar on his first win there, and he wanted it so bad. So that was kind of cool. But I was over the moon. You know, it's a world championship, and no one can ever take that away from you. So it's nice, and especially to break the world record. Like no one can say to us like, "Oh, there wasn't that many good teams racing."
Yeah, exactly.
We took the record anyway, so it didn't really matter.
Exactly.
Who was racing.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say that because we kind of felt the same way. Like when we talked about who won, like we were super stoked for Oscar and you obviously, but like since we knew Oscar, we knew how much he wanted it, how he was basically committing his entire year for this one day. So to actually have it play out, it's special for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was stoked for him. I think everyone was pretty happy that he got a win, so that's good.
Yeah. Nice. And then you were laid up for 5 weeks, like you told us earlier, with your hamstrings, but then you rolled it right back in there with Malta. Yeah. Another win for Malta there.
Yeah, we had. I mean, Hugo's a machine. So it's the first time I've ever swum behind someone in Swimrun.
Oh wow!
And so it was. I mean, because he's obviously a phenomenal swimmer, and like even like trying to. Like I was having a bad day, obviously, but like holding his feet is tough. So we pulled out the line, I think, after the first, like that first loop you do there, and then you go out of town. And I was like, mate, I'm dying here. So you want to keep racing hard. Yeah, we're going to race with the line.
Yeah, gotta tow me a little bit, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it was a good day, and it's a beautiful place. I mean, it's a cool place to go and have a holiday as well. If someone's gonna go and do that race, make sure you book a few days after the race to enjoy the island because it's an awesome place there.
Noted.
And that was a book into your 2021 season.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Did you jump into Hella's Frostbite swim run, or did you let that one pass you by?
Nothing else, man. I actually did like a little running race, like a local running race, but that was just because it was like a 3-part series, and I'd been enrolled for it since 2020. I think it had like a swim run and stuff involved in it, so I was like, I can't not do this now, even though I don't want to. So and it was a cool race as well. It was at night with head torch and stuff. So
that's cool. Yeah. That's cool. Is it too early to start thinking about what your plans are for next year? I mean, I know you kind of just like put a bunch of races on, but is the World Championship, on there somewhere?
Nah, that's definitely not on there. So I've already told Oscar that it's like next year's a break for me. Like I just like that race like deserves a lot of respect, and it deserves like you need to give up your summer to race that race, like to train and race as many races I can over the summer is like really important. And I have 2 kids, and they sort of deserve my summer. This one coming, I feel bad that I shouldn't feel bad, but they spend some like weekends coming in watching me do races, or that I'm away doing races. So I said to them, like, next year is like we're just gonna have a bit of family time, like have a real summer, like and enjoy it with the family. I mean, I'm still keen to do a bit of racing, of course, but I think ÖTILLÖ demands a bit of respect in that sense that you really need to focus for you need to focus on that race. And and I
can appreciate that.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
Very respectable decision.
It's more respect to my teammate than anything. Like, of course, it's respect to the race, but Oscar, if I'm going to race with Oscar, he deserves someone that's going to give him give everything to that race. And that's I'm not going to commit to that. So then I think he's better off racing with a guy that can do that.
Well, that actually just comes back to what we started talking about at the beginning with partners. I mean, that's a huge goal, right? And if your goals aren't aligned, you're going to just be disappointing one of your good mates. You're going to be, showing up to the line not ready for something that, I mean, you could get hurt. It's not like you can show up and walk.
And I mean, it's not worth losing a friendship over swim run. So it's better you from the very start really clear what, like I said, like what your goals are, and like Oscar said to me, but I still want to race with you, and it's like. As he knows that it's not. Yeah, he knows that it needs that time of racing, and he knows if I say yes, I'm going to give it that time.
Right.
And I know that as well. So the only thing I can do is say no.
Wow.
Hey, at least you're honest with
real
yourself,
talk right there.
And with your partner. That's good.
Yeah.
So true. So that sounds great. I mean, so we're talking to you. It's Sunday where we're recording, but it's Monday where you are because you're spending your holiday in Australia with your family. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, we were meant to come back here in 2020 at the start of the year because, and like one of my daughters is 2, just a bit over 2 now, 2.5. And she's never met any of my family here because we never got back that trip. And then we've been on a waiting list to get in the country since then. And we finally got the chance to come back here. So we jumped at it. And now we're sitting in quarantine at the moment. And we'll find out if it's going to be 3 days or 14 days. And I really hope it's not 14 days because I've been doing 12 hours now and I'm ready to go crazy.
Yeah.
I've been through day one.
Yeah, well, I guess,
great.
14 days is a problem if you're only going to be there for 16, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, they let you know after, I think, if everyone in the plane is test like negative for corona, then it's only 3 days. And if one person on the plane has corona, then everyone has to do 14 days. So
wow.
We'll see what happens here. Yeah. it was a bit of a roll of the dice, but
Hey, you know what? It's worth it to see family. I mean,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think it's also
my parents are very happy. So
and I'm assuming if your kids were born in Sweden, I think Australia is pretty cool. Like they can get dual citizenship. Just
exactly.
Parent.
They're frothing to get back here and see. Like, I mean, we've still got our apartment here. We live like maybe 100 meters from Bondi Beach, so that's where I used to work, and they'll be able to go down to the beach in a few days, hopefully, and
that sounds pretty nice.
Take them out surfing and things like that. And the craziest part is we just left Gothenburg. It's had like huge dump of snow, and like since I've lived there, I've never had so much snow. So it's like big contrast getting off the plane to like here it's like 25, 30 degrees, and we left like half a meter of snow at home.
Amazing.
So
amazing. Adriel, we've kept you on. You have to go back to quarantine. That's just how it is.
No, don't send me back.
We want to thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show. We're huge fans. Congratulations on an amazing year. And yeah, I just really appreciate you, spending some time with us.
Mate, thanks so much. I love what you guys are doing for the sport. I mean, it's a sport that we all love and we want it to grow. So what you guys are doing is huge for us, and I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, thanks. It's always great to hear that. And yeah, we love it too. That's why we keep doing it. So
yeah,
it's good for everybody.
Hopefully we'll get to have no summer and get to Worlds next year. But
I hope so. I hope I'm there commentating you guys racing. So
that'd be awesome.
Oh boy. Okay, sounds good. We better. I'm prepared and looking forward to giving up my summer this year.
Yeah,
if that happens,
willing to go all in on that.
To go all in.
All right, Adriel. Thank you so much.
Legends.
Thank you for listening to the Low Tide Boys, a Swimrun podcast. Make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast and leave a review on iTunes if you're so inclined.
You can also sign up for a newsletter at lowtideboys.com. That's boys with a Z. And check out our meme page at The Low Tide Boys on Instagram. If you have any questions or suggestions for the show, drop us an email at lowtideboys@gmail.com.
We'd like to thank Writing Easy Records for our show music, and of course our wives for their support and tolerance of our swimrun activities, hobbies, and other bullshit we do.
Finally, you can support our efforts on Patreon. Until next time, get out there and go for a swim.
And then a run.
And then another swim.
Then another run.
And then another swim.
And then run to the finish line. And just keep going until you're done.
Yes. Or
until
run
you
to
cross the finish line.
Or run to the car.
Or run to your car.
Somewhere. Just keep running.
Peace.